Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Rooted in Rising. I'm Dr. Carmela Maxell, and this is the place where we have conversations that challenge us to think differently, live intentionally, and grow through what life places in front of us. Today, we're talking about something so many people have experienced: being overlooked, underestimated, or waiting for someone else to give them permission to succeed. My guest today, and I'm so excited to have him, is one of my amazing longtime friends, Dr. Melvin King, a
Hello.
transformational friend-raising strategist, executive leadership champion, and someone who has spent years helping organizations and leaders build meaningful relationships that create lasting impact. Dr. King, my friend, welcome to Rooted and Rising.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the introduction. You put a little sauce on it, and I appreciate that. Um, but I'm grateful to be here and excited to have this conversation.
Absolutely. You know what? And the introduction, folks, it absolutely just does not do this man justice. You are just a pioneer. You are a game changer, and I can't wait to chat with you today and let our audience get to know you a bit better. Um, but let me start. Tell us a little bit about your journey and what first inspired your work in leadership and relationship building.
Man, to say that I would be where I am today if I were to talk to my 9-year-old self wouldn't be this
Hmm.
conversation.
Hmm.
I had the expectation that I'm going to medical school. I'm going to
Yep.
be a
Yep.
cardiac surgeon.
Oh,
I'm
yep.
going to have the 2.5 kids with a house and a white picket fence and all those
Uh-huh.
wonderful things, right?
Mhm.
But life doesn't pan out the way you normally
No,
plan to, right?
no.
Um, so, my journey started off in Pennsylvania. That's where I'm from. Um, Born in Philadelphia, raised outside of Pittsburgh. During the 80s, there was a lot of civil unrest.
Mhm.
And in 85, there was a bombing of a row home that housed nothing but Black people, obviously, Philadelphia being a Black
Mhm.
city.
Mhm.
And that was right around the time my parents got married. And they came to the conclusion that, yeah, they don't want to raise children in that environment. So by about 90, by 1990, they moved from my mother's side of the state, which is Philadelphia, to my father's side of the state, which is Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
And I grew up outside of Pittsburgh.
All
It's a really
right.
small town,
East
really small town.
Coast.
East Coast all
East
day, right?
Coast.
Born and
Y-
raised.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm,
Yes.
missing home. And you're now in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I am in Las Vegas. It was a long journey to get here, but yeah,
Yes.
I credit a great friend of mine. He's a current state assemblyman, um, and he convinced me. He's like, Vegas is on the precipice of a lot of growth and expansion and opportunity. And if
Yeah.
you're interested in making impact in community where you
Mhm.
can really see your impact,
Mhm.
make the move. Come to Vegas. And,
I love
and nothing.
this. I
Yeah.
love this. I love this for us. I love how we both, we started on the East Coast and now we're over
Yeah.
here in the West. And
Exactly.
how kismet. Don't mind my cat. She likes
Yeah.
to make appearances.
No, you're
Oh
good.
man. Well, so, such a rich beginning, and your parents doing that service of, we got to get our children out of this space
Mhm.
and provide them with the opportunity to thrive. And just I just want to clap for mom and dad for what they have done, and then what you continue to carry on, because I can't wait for folks to hear about this. Um, your title includes friend raising strategist.
Yes.
And that's a term that many listeners may not know. What does that mean? What is friend raising?
Yes. So when you're a leader of an organization, um, it's all about the relationships that you build.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I often say the most impactful currency isn't the dollar bill;
Hmm.
it's your network, your relationships that you build,
Oh, absolutely.
and And that's what I believe in. I believe in building authentic relationships that are impactful, relationships that are collaborative, synergistic.
Mhm.
And so my goal as a leader is to not only build those relationships, but then also connect people. I'm often known as a connector in my space, is
Mhm.
because either I know somebody or know somebody who knows somebody who can get the information that you need. And that's
Yeah.
because of the network that I developed and I nurtured and steward to an extent. And that friend raising piece is exactly what it is. It's identifying people who can aid you in your mission and your
Mhm.
why,
Mhm.
and helping you achieve whatever that goal is. And then in inversely, you being an asset to that individual and helping them achieve that goal. Always focusing through the lens of synergy and collaboration, equity, um, grace and gratitude.
Yeah. I'm going to dive away from my script for a second because you said a few things that sort of hit me. But networking, connection, and I'm a mental
Mhm,
health professional, and so I'm all about the connection
mhm,
and how we build trust and relationships. Um, I'm curious as to your thoughts about something.
mhm.
We live in the digital era where
Yeah.
we are so connected, or we have that opportunity to be connected, and yet people still are isolating. What do you think
Yeah.
that's about, and how does that impact people's ability to network? It just in your
Man.
thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's so powerful because when you notice the trends of
Mhm,
social interaction has always been on the uptick, especially after the World War II,
mhm.
when Americans began to discover for the first time disposable income.
Yep.
Prior to that,
Consumerism and
exactly,
yeah.
consumerism, and that's when we started seeing peak capitalism,
Mhm,
right? And peak capitalism looks like constant consumption of a product.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
And we saw that pivot happen in around 2009. And
Mm.
there's a documentary on Netflix that it talks about this, where the like button became the most
Ugh,
addictive,
yes.
toxic
Mhm.
piece of social media that existed up to that point.
Yeah.
And because of that, we no longer seek connection
Mhm,
because social media give us this false sense of interrelational experiences.
yeah.
And so I can scroll through your social media and see, oh, wow, they went on a trip here. Oh, wow, they did this. And oh, wow, they did that. But I'm not picking up the phone and asking you, how was that experience?
Mhm, mhm.
I'm not meeting you for coffee and you're telling me about the little cafe that you ran into in Old San Juan in Puerto Rico. All
Mhm,
right.
mhm.
We're not having those shared experiences anymore because we believe that social media has created this superficial connection.
Yeah,
And because of that superficial connection, we're constantly chasing that dopamine hit of likes and comments and everything
yeah.
else. So it's unfortunate we've been conditioned to embrace this, but I believe that the generation that's coming up, this Gen Z, Gen
Oh,
Alpha,
I'm
they're
worried.
starting to,
I'm worried.
yeah, the first time in history, they're the first generation who is considered less intelligent
Mm,
than the generation before.
mhm, mhm,
And that's because of the impact of social media, the impact of generative AI,
mhm,
Google,
mhm,
all these resources that they don't have to do the work. They
mhm,
can just simply type a question
mhm.
or search something up and then they get the answer.
Yeah,
There's no generative thinking moving forward.
yeah, and, I think, this is like our generation, right? And
Mhm.
shout out to all the millennials. I just want to throw that out there.
Yes.
Millennial magic,
Let's go.
okay?
Let's
Um,
go.
I have a lot to say about us. I'm quite proud of our generation.
Yes.
Um, but I think we utilized or tried to utilize technology in a manner that um, to make our lives easier.
Mhm.
Not necessarily to take away the creative process. I know there's a lot of stuff on social media right now against generative AI and, against the use of certain apps and stuff. And, I sort of sit on the sidelines and I'm like, let me let y'all hash this one out
Mhm.
because I personally believe AI, when utilized appropriately and when it's not misused, can be extremely helpful, right?
Absolutely.
But I think, to your point, when we talk about Gen Z and Gen Alpha and the utilization of these tools and taking the think work out of it, taking that creative process, taking the labor out of
Mhm.
it. As we talk about networking and entrepreneurship and all of that today, um, I worry that we're heading in a direction where creativity and networking is going to be stunted. Um,
Yeah.
because I'll tell you that, as a mental health professional, the like button, you said it, it can be really toxic, right? People are
Mhm.
assigning value to the number of likes that people have. Um, that doesn't necessarily, from a marketing perspective, it doesn't necessarily generate leads. It doesn't necessarily generate follows or
Mhm.
sales. And so people, they scroll and they post in hopes for that follow to follow or for that like. And
Mhm.
I think that may be a type of networking, but I don't think that's where where we get a lot of that meaning, where we get a lot of
Mhm.
that connection, right?
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important. That's why I say I'm a friend raising strategist
Yeah.
because it's social media, like you said, is a tool. Your LinkedIns, your Instagrams, your TikToks, those are tools to elevate and optimize your networking ability,
Hmm.
but you should not rely on it alone.
Yeah.
Even in generative AI, it says AI can make mistakes,
It can. Yes, it
you
can.
know?
Yeah.
And so if we go with the lens that this is a tool instead of the end all be all, then we begin to utilize it properly
Hmm.
and how it should have been used as a means of connecting people who are across different spectrums of society, across different time zones, across different countries,
Hmm.
but not eliminate the human aspect of connecting and networking. And I think that's what we're missing, and we need to get back to that.
Mhm, mhm. I situate myself in a similar space when it comes to the therapeutic relationship and how
Mm,
I am so very happy, uh, about, the innovation and installation of apps for people to get mental health services, right? I mean, in,
mhm,
in rural areas or where, there is a saturation, like here in like the Seattle area, there's such a saturation of mental health services and professionals, and yet people still can't access them because everyone is just
mm,
super full. So
mhm,
apps are great. It still can connect you to people. I think though, there is a part of personability, right? And
mhm,
relationship that is missing. And so this sort of leads me to, you talked about networking and friend raising and that the importance of that connection.
mhm.
Knowing that we're not getting out of AI, like we're not getting
No,
out of where we are with social media and such.
no.
When you are trying to form a quality connection or you're looking for the next great connection in your network, how do you filter through to know who's who? And
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what matters the most is identifying what the person's intentions are, or
Mhm,
identifying what your intentions are with that person. Um, if this person is reaching out to you and they're looking for a connection to another person, fantastic. Here,
here you go.
I personally am a person who, if somebody reaches out to me and say, oh, hey, can you connect me to this individual?
Mhm,
Yeah, sure. Let me follow up with you. I reach out to that individual and I specifically ask them, hey, I have a person who's interested in connecting with you. Are you open to, or do you have the bandwidth or capacity to connect with this person?
Mhm.
Oftentimes, especially if I've already vetted this person,
Mhm.
these people are like, yeah, sure. They trust me. They trust my judgment. They trust the relationship that I have with them. And so they're not going to believe that I'm going to set them up for a situation where this person may be a detriment or a harm to whatever they have going on,
Sure.
personally, professionally,
Mhm.
whatever it may be. Um, Now, identifying, oftentimes, people reach out on LinkedIn. It's like,
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
who do you know and how did you find me?
Yes.
Um,
Asking myself that all like, how do you know me?
exactly, right? And oftentimes it's just, somebody just wanted to reach out. They may have seen a podcast or an interview that I've done. They may have
Mhm.
sat in a workshop or a conference that I spoke at.
Mhm.
Um, and they just want to connect more, learn more.
Mhm.
Often, asking, "Hey, do you know of employment?" Because everybody's looking for a job right now.
Everybody. Oh, yeah.
It's very, very sad to see.
Mhm.
And so I use my network as one of the first filters with regard to identifying whether or not this person is a friend,
Mhm.
an adversary,
Mhm.
or unidentified.
Yeah. 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 I think similarly in the mental health world, it's what you said in the beginning, knowing somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. I
Hmm.
hear that song in my head.
Yeah.
Right? And and so I think us folks, and I can say this, us veterans, right? Who
Hmm.
kick it old school, we're kind of like, hey, let me phone my friend or phone my network
Hmm.
and say, hey, do you know this person? Or do you know what they're about? Have you heard of them? Um, and we vet them that way. I think what's scary for me is when these folks don't have a network or you don't know anything
Hmm.
about them and they're starting there's always this inherent risk, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and at the same time, this sort of leads to this next part about networking. And then we're building into the entrepreneur world. On the one hand, we do use these tactics of phone a friend, phone our network, vet a person. And we can, and I want to make this clear to the audience, we can also miss out on some really good budding talent that way. So we've
Hmm.
got to
100%.
expand. But what can those individuals do in your eyes, in your experience, when they
Hmm.
don't have a footprint
Hmm.
or maybe they're rebranding?
Hmm.
How do we help these folks, especially, and I'm gonna be selfish here, our young people of color who want to step
Hmm.
up and rise and get into the professional spaces that you and I are in, and maybe even above us?
Hmm.
How can we help them? What is some advice we can give them, that you can give them, to help them create an impactful or leave an impactful imprint, help them be seen
Hmm.
and get part of, to and be indoctrinated into some of these networks?
Absolutely. That's a great question because we at some point were there, right?
Yo, I might still be there.
Yeah.
I might still be there. Whoops.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, right.
Right?
Um, if you can't be afraid to reach out to somebody first and foremost, you
Mm.
you got to overcome that fear of reaching out.
So quit waiting
Um,
to be chosen.
exactly. Quit
Oof.
waiting to be chosen. You
Okay.
you you know you have to take action. Nothing is going to fall in your lap,
Mhm.
especially since we're being more micro in this approach when we're talking about young people of color.
Mhm.
You have to remember, and it's an old adage, but it's passed down from generation to generation. You have to work twice as hard to get half the credit.
Yeah, amen.
Um, so that translates to you having to be intentional on who you reach out to.
Mhm.
Um, every person, regardless of age, at some point in time, you need to have a mentor. You,
Mm.
you need to have somebody who's been there, who's done that, who's seen success, and can impart that wisdom to you, right?
Mhm.
There's that old adage, the smart man learns from his mistakes, but the wise man learns from others.
Mhm. Mhm.
Your goal is to live in that wise man space.
Mhm.
Learn from somebody else who's been through it, who's done it,
Mhm.
who said, you know what, yeah, I had this experience and I learned this from this experience. So now I don't have to go through that anymore
Right.
because now I have the vision of what a future could potentially look like if I ever were to encounter that experience. And so now that I have that vision of what it looks like, I could then begin to prepare for it. So proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Mhm.
And that's our goal because we always, as I said before, have to work twice as hard to get half the credit.
Mhm.
Finding that mentor, reaching out and being intentional on how you reach out.
Mhm.
When you reach out to somebody who you're like, man, this person will be awesome to connect with, reach out to them and explain, hi, I'm Melvin. I'm so interested in learning on how to be a better leader. And I've seen your work in the community,
Mhm.
and I would love to sit down and have a conversation with you, either over the phone or in person, coffee
Mhm.
or lunch. So I can pick your brain if you're open to it, if you have the bandwidth for it, because I believe that learning from others
Mhm.
gives me the skills to be better than what I currently am. So, and
Mhm.
that's just a general conversation that you can have with anybody.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
most leaders, if they're intentional and if they believe in leading from behind,
Mhm.
then they're going to have no issue
Mhm.
with meeting with somebody who's striving to be better.
Mhm. 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 Yeah, I love everything that you just said, and I think about my own experiences, coming up into leadership and how I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew
Mhm,
where I wanted to be, and I
mhm,
knew that the process of the query, right? Of
mhm.
inquiring was important because you're not gonna get questions answered if you don't ask questions.
Exactly.
Um, I think the biggest reality check, just sort of piggybacking on that, and maybe tell me a little bit about your experience. For our young folks out here, and for those, and I don't just want to target young folks, anyone that I think is either starting in a down a career path, or is starting over,
Mhm.
trying to network, maybe network differently, like maybe you switch from business to psychology, from medicine to economics. I don't know.
Mhm.
Also, guard your peace and guard your
Mm.
just guard your mindset because it's not a one and done either.
No, it's not.
I can't tell you how many people I reached out to either hear nothing back or to be
Mhm.
rejected, and that's also okay. Like that is
Yes.
that is also
Yes.
that's not a sign that you should give up either. And so
At all.
I'll tell you, I can't tell you there have always also been opportunities crafted where it's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I don't have the capacity to help or to
Mhm.
mentor you," or, "You know what? Thank you for reading about what I've done and the work that I've contributed. I'm not the right person, but also let me point you in the direction of someone else."
I love that.
Yeah, so, I just wanna point out, um, looking at the culture of these generations now, uh, it's it seems easier for people to give up. And it's like,
Oh,
no, I
absolutely.
think that persistence,
Mhm.
that's the stock that you wanna
Yes.
have. You've gotta be persistent.
100%. 100%. I mean, persistence is everything.
Mhm.
Um, you can't the tortoise and the hare story, right?
Mhm. Slow and steady.
Slow and steady.
Mhm.
Persistence is key. As being a leader, I work in, you know, development as well.
Mhm.
And development is fundraising,
Mhm.
relationship building,
Mhm.
all these things. And oftentimes, like you said, is rejection.
Mhm.
There's no. It's
Yep.
no,
Yep.
I'm good. Or they don't respond.
Right.
That's fine. That doesn't mean anything to me because guess what? I'm just going to circle back and come back to you 6 months from now.
Exactly.
Hey, seeing how you doing, just touching base because no doesn't mean no to me. It means just not right now.
Exactly.
or what you're doing doesn't align with what we have.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's fine. I'll find a pivot.
Mhm.
You have to be adaptable, and
Mm.
you have to be, as what Bruce Lee says, as like water, right?
Mhm.
Um, water can take the form of anything that it's put into.
Mhm.
So if you adapt, but it's also a powerful force.
Mhm. Mhm.
Still waters sometimes they run deep and they run powerfully. So
Mhm.
be a still water,
Mhm.
calm, cool, collected,
Mhm.
always aware, always observing.
Yes.
And then you use that opportunity once you've observed what's happening. Now you know, I need to pay attention to this. I
Mhm.
need to connect with this. I need to make sure that this person is in my circle because of what
Mhm.
they're able to do
Mhm.
that can help my community and increase the impact that I'm trying to do with regardless of whatever field I'm in. If it's tech, it's economics, as you said,
Mhm.
even in the medical space,
Yes.
the mental health space,
Right.
you know,
Right.
you see people who come up with this new creative therapy. And it's like, oh, I need you in my circle because I need to collaborate with you to bring that therapy to my clients, to my patients.
Mhm.
You always be ready to move and adapt. There's only three things that are guaranteed in life: it's death,
Mhm.
taxes for the poor,
Mhm.
and change.
Mhm.
So I often say I embrace change as an old, welcomed friend.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's so beautifully said, and definitely a great reminder, I think, for myself, and a great introduction for those who really need to hear it. Um, what I also hear here, and you and I have spoken about this offline. Just this is my year
Mhm.
of discernment, right? We have got to
Mhm.
discern what is of value, and of
Mhm.
value to us, especially when we establish our brand and who we are, and we go out in the world. So we hear the word no, we get rejected, we continue to remain persistent. There's also another trap that I will out myself about,
Mhm.
where I think this could really help some folks. How do you know when you need to just continue to be persistent, or when
Mhm.
you're just knocking on the wrong door?
Oh man, wow, that's real.
Mhm,
Um, I like to liken it. I like to liken rejection to a door.
mhm.
There are two types of doors, right? There's a door that locks and deadbolts that you can't force open
Can't
no
penetrate.
matter how hard you try.
Yep, yep.
Then there's doors that maybe it's a little bit off the hinge. You got to put a little bit more oomph in it.
Mhm,
But what happens? That door still opens,
mhm,
right? If you're putting maximum effort and maximum intentionality in what you're trying to accomplish and you're reaching no progress, it's a locked door. You
yeah,
got to pivot.
yeah.
But if you see that there's a no, mm,
Mhm,
not sure, or a not right now kind of circumstance, that's a jam door
mhm,
that you just got to jiggle it a little bit more. Maybe you have to pivot. Maybe you have to try a different approach. Maybe you got
mhm,
to lift the door and push
mhm,
versus just opening it. Maybe you got to twist the doorknob
mhm,
and jiggle the handle four times and then open the door. Whatever you need to do,
mhm.
but it doesn't mean that it's not possible. You just have to be able to put forth the maximum effort to ensure that that door opens for you.
Yeah.
Oftentimes for me in a spiritual space, I know that something is meant for me because I face little resistance
Mhm,
when I approach it.
mhm, mhm,
Things kind of just clear its way,
mhm,
things align, and I'm able to, for the most part, just walk right through.
mhm, mhm,
I believe that there are signs for everyone,
mhm.
and you just have to identify what those signs are for you personally.
Yeah. Which I think requires reflection, right? And
Mhm.
along with persistence, patience, my goodness, patience.
Mhm.
I want to back up and say shout out to Dr. King for inciting all of our trauma about our cars from the early 2000s, talking about
Oh,
Jimmy in the
yes.
door. And you remember when we had to roll
Man,
the windshields? Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Threw me back. I just thought about
Yes.
some old cars that I drove, and
Mhm.
you had to have like a 12-step manual to get in the car.
Yes. Oh, right?
Now I lose my key fob and I lose my mind. I'm just like,
Yes.
the ca-
What do I
what
do?
do I do? What do I
I
do?
used to have a screwdriver this long to start one of my cars.
Stop it.
So we've come a long way, Dr. Max.
Let me tell you. Funny aside. My dad had one of those club bars
Oh,
across.
yeah.
And let me tell you how one time we couldn't find the key and we somehow drove with that sucker on.
Oh, man.
The things we did to where now you don't have a
Yeah,
fob, your car literally won't start. We used to
it will not.
we used to figure it out back in the day.
Yes, we did.
Oh my gosh, the resiliency.
Man,
But
resiliency.
yes, and this is so perfect, to talk about, because I think for those of us who have been in our respective fields and have faced that rejection and have faced um, those doors that we've had to jimmy, um, you said something that I want to just repeat in a different way. If you're getting that level of resistance over time, that door is just not opening. We call that in my health, you've got to have some radical acceptance about it,
Mm,
right?
I love
So
that.
I I liken it to this. We've all listened to the bad American Idol rehearsals,
Yes,
and it's just like, listen,
yes.
there is something for everybody, and at the same time, if you've been told no, it's it's just no, right? That door
Yeah.
is just not open for you. Um, that doesn't mean that you don't have talent elsewhere, other skills to contribute. But even
Mhm,
you and I are both very talented individuals, and we have been hit
mhm.
with those doors that are like, I can't open that
All the time.
all
All
the
the
time.
time.
And I want people to
Mhm.
know this is not just oh, we got hit once. No, we got hit with that clap back several
Exactly, several
times.
times. I mean, shoot,
Yeah,
sometimes still recovering from it, right?
man, I'm still holding on to that.
Yes.
Exactly. And I think that's a hard thing, um, for the generations that we're seeing now, and then even some folks in the workforce. The stories that I hear, it is hard for them to hear no. It is hard for them to,
Mhm,
with generative AI, with all the tools that are available, because of that level of accessibility, because of, I call it false networking, right? When you have,
mm,
well, I have 20,000 followers on Instagram.
mhm,
Okay, that does not necessarily equate to a thriving business or you know, um, to a return on investment. And
yeah,
what and I just wonder why it's so hard for people to accept that that door is just not a door that will open for them.
mm. You know what? When you say people have an issue with the word "no,"
Mhm.
I often equate that to a lack of accountability.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Oh, let me
yeah,
sip
we're
this
gonna go
coffee.
there.
Let me sip this coffee real
Yes.
quick. Oh boy.
Yeah, to hear "no," people often take it as they're being rejected.
Yeah.
The person who they are, who they represent, their ideals, their beliefs, their level of success is all tied to that one word, "no,"
Mhm,
and that's not the case.
mhm,
The accountability piece comes in is acknowledging that whatever I did and however I came to this point was not the proper place for me to be
mhm,
in that moment,
mhm.
or indefinitely,
Right.
depending on the circumstance. You have to be able to accept no, identify why the no existed, and do what you need to change that no to a yes.
Mhm.
Or, like you said, radical acceptance
Mm,
that no is not meant for you.
mhm, mhm.
once we start taking accountability, which I'm noticing generation over generation, it's starting to become less and less prevalent.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
We begin to live in a space where people just give up
Mhm.
on the no.
Mhm. Mhm.
They don't have that tortoise in them
Mhm.
to finish the race.
Yeah. Yeah. I've met a lot of hares.
Mm,
People wanting to rush. And I think this will I I say this in jest, but you know what I'm talking about. The folks that want to show up in entrepreneurial spaces, the ones that
mhm,
want to like get big and successful overnight because they look at the TikTokers and they look at, you know, these successful folks. They look at us and they're like,
mhm,
if Dr. King could do it, if Dr. Maxwell could do it, I can do it. And yes, we want to continue to support you and build you up in that. But we did not get here quickly.
mhm.
And also, there wasn't always a seat at the table for us. And so we had to create the table once we figured some things out after a while. And
Mhm.
this is the line I want to say, people want to move fast. They want to be successful fast. And I get it, especially in these very uncertain times. But can't everybody have a mixtape?
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
We can't
You're
all
right.
have a mixtape. Like we
Yeah.
cannot all be out here trying to do things quickly and think that we're gonna come up
Yeah.
in the world and just be the next best thing.
Mhm.
And you might be, but there is a strategy behind it. Um, but I know, since I know quite a bit about your background, you know about mine. We've been friends for a long time now. Um,
Mhm.
Talk to me about how there have definitely been doors as a black man that were closed for you,
Yes.
but when you do the pivot, when you
Mhm.
realize, okay, this door is not going to open for me, um, uh, no matter how educated, right? Like you've got all these degrees, no matter who you know, you've got to pivot, you've got to create a seat at your own table. You got to build your own table.
Mhm.
How do people know when so let's say, that opportunity was meant for them, but there are these closed doors. This is another scenario, right? Of because this isn't for lack of talent. There's just no room at the table for you. We don't have space. When do you stop waiting?
Mm.
And when do you just craft your own table?
Man, that's a tough question to ask and to answer.
Mhm.
The reason being is because every person's journey is different.
Yeah.
Um, for me, it was the realization that if I want to step into leadership and executive space, I need to show that I'm capable of being a leader. I
Right.
need to show that I'm capable of, you know, taking the helm of an organization and turning it into a success. Um,
Mhm.
I was a that leads into my the business that I created
Please tell us
because
about it.
as you said,
Mhm.
I noticed that there were opportunities that existed that I was getting looked over, and oftentimes in that space when you're trying to step into leadership,
Mhm.
true leadership,
Mhm.
because there's two different types of leadership, right? There's leadership where you create your own business
Mhm.
and you run your own business and and hopefully that business is successful and you've established yourself as a leader.
Right.
Oftentimes people who create businesses end up just being solopreneurs.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, solopreneurs who aren't generating six figures, seven figures, eight figures aren't considered leaders oftentimes by a lot of people because they're like, who are you leading?
Mhm.
It's just you by yourself.
Mhm.
But it takes discipline to be able to do that, to
Mhm.
be able to focus your time and efforts on this business that only you are running. So you are your own leadership, you're your own HR, you're
Own
your own
marketing.
IT, your
Yeah.
own marketing, your own programming, whatever that looks like, or your own sales team, whatever that looks like you're doing all the things.
Mhm.
So you can't deny a solopreneur first and foremost isn't a leader.
Thank you so much for that validation, because that's this girl right here.
Exactly.
Yeah, outside of my 9 to 5, this
Mhm.
whole all of this is, and people don't realize the hard work behind it, but you have to put in the work to be a solopreneur. You really, really
Exactly.
do. Yeah.
You do. You do. And then there's the other type of leader that I would say is more traditional,
Hmm.
where somebody hires you to be a leader of an organization.
Hmm.
That one is considered more validated because somebody else sees your worth and they put you in the place where they think that you can make a difference as a leader. Both still require all the same skills.
Hmm.
The difference is that you are betting on you versus somebody else betting on you.
Mm.
Now, when you get that validation, oftentimes people don't realize in your professional career, you eventually get to a point where there's a wall
Hmm.
where your technical skills, your degrees, and everything else don't get you beyond that wall.
Hmm.
Because when you start stepping into C-suite space, it's all relationships.
Yep. All about who you know.
It's all about who you know. And I would even go a step further. And I would say it's not about what you know. It's not about who you know. Yeah, it's not about what you know. It's not about who you know, but who knows you. Now,
Yes. Oh.
that's the difference between a person who's able to be um, a senior manager
Hmm.
to then becoming a vice president
Yeah.
or an executive director or things of that nature.
Hmm.
Now, when I think about my solopreneur journey, I didn't even step in solopreneur space. I actually partnered with somebody to start my HR consulting firm.
Hmm.
And there was a lot of effort put into it. So much so that, it was recognized as top 40 under 40 in Las Vegas.
Let's just pause.
Thank you.
You know what? I seriously, I'm just so proud of you, and I want to just make that known because um, there are so few of us that look like us doing what we do, and so I
Yes.
just, I just want to give you your flowers, Dr. King, for that one.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, Dr. Max. I
yes,
appreciate it.
yeah.
Um, and then from there, that gave me the opportunity to leverage that level. I'm the chief organizational officer of my organization.
Woo.
And now I just finished a leadership program within a city that connects other leaderships,
Hmm.
other leaders, executives, vice presidents, et cetera,
Hmm.
and impact in the city.
Hmm.
And it's called Leadership Las Vegas. So I graduated that just this past June.
Hmm.
And this is all because of the efforts showing that I'm capable of leading an organization.
Hmm.
So my journey as an entrepreneur translated to r- recognition, awards, opportunities for further leadership. And that ultimately boils down to knowing when to start. I
Hmm.
saw that people weren't giving me the table.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay, cool.
Hmm.
Build the table myself. And
Hmm.
I'm going to leverage the relationships that I have to help me elevate myself to the next level.
Hmm.
Always going back to that friend raising strategy,
Hmm.
tapping into your network, tapping into those relationships and saying, hey, I have this opportunity and I think you and I can work great together. Let me help you make your organization better.
Hmm. Hmm. I love that, and I feel like people are going to feel very empowered by what you just said and really rethink. I hope that they rethink their strategies um, when it comes to their own networking. But I think there's also a caveat, right? So you said
Mhm.
something earlier. Um, it's not just about who you know, but who knows you. And from a behavioral, I'm a behaviorist. I love behaviors and understanding characteristics and qualities of people. In order for people to know you and want to know you, you've got to have certain qualities about you.
Mm, 100%.
So, um, I want to get real for a second.
Let's do
A,
it.
what are some of the qualities you think people um, need in order to be successful in the networking realm? Well, what makes them memorable? What would make them memorable to you? And then,
Mhm.
secondly, for our Black and Brown people, our marginalized groups, I want to keep it real. What are some things that we're doing that are just not making us marketable?
Mm, jeez. If we place all the systemic stuff aside,
Mhm.
right? I would say what's important is identifying who you are as a person first and foremost, right? Knowing who you are, knowing what your skills are, what your talents are, everything else. Now, your question poses a very interesting uh, space because, and correct me if I'm wrong, your question.
What are some of the qualities that make people memorable?
Okay.
And then for us, because I want to talk to our communities,
Hmm.
what are some things that we could be doing better? What are some
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Yes. So to make yourself memorable, we oftentimes don't remember what people said,
Mm,
but we remember how they made us feel,
feel. Mhm. Mhm.
right? So it's not necessarily coming in and being the smartest person in the room.
Mhm.
It's coming in and making sure that you're being authentic and you're finding connection
Yeah.
with people.
Yeah.
And that connection is important because if I can find something that I can relate to you,
Mhm.
I can always go back and tap into that
Mhm.
to rebuild that connection. If so happen to we all live our lives and we end up going separate ways, and I don't run into you again for another 6 or 8 months.
Yeah.
But I remember, oh, you're a Michigan fan.
Go blue. For those who are listening to this on audio, you didn't see Dr. King's face. We've been, but Ah,
Yes. In all fairness, Michigan is a great school. So
thank
I will
you.
give Michigan its credit.
And so is Penn
Um,
State. You know what?
absolutely.
Hey,
I mean, you started with us first. So
yeah, yeah. But you know what? As long as we're not playing each other, I look,
it's always
it's
love,
always
right?
love.
it, now, for when I think about the most successful people, they're not the most brilliant.
No,
They're not.
no.
The most brilliant person in the room isn't often the leader, but the most emotionally intelligent one
Mm.
is often
Woo.
the leader, the successful leader,
One that can read the room.
one that can read the room, one who knows when to speak up and one who knows when to step back, one who knows when to empathize, and one who knows when to provide knowledge, insight, resources. That's my tip for our young people of color. You have to develop your emotional intelligence. Studies show the most successful leader of any organization is the one who's the most emotionally intelligent.
Mhm.
The most emotionally intelligent leader knows their strengths
Mhm.
and knows their weaknesses, and they augment their weaknesses with individuals who have that as their strength.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
That's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Build your network of people who are like-minded in effort, like-minded in impact, like-minded in equity, like-minded in empathy,
Mhm.
and also strengthen you
Mhm.
and your weaknesses.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, I I really that really resonates with me and some of the conversations I've had with young people who, have asked me, how do I get into these spaces? How do I climb? Acknowledging your weaknesses. I love what you said about augmenting those with people. So surrounding yourself by people who are skilled. One of my favorite things in the world is to surround myself by smart people, by people that know
Mhm.
how to do things. Because a good leader, I believe, allows others to shine.
100%.
Let those other folks shine. Because,
Absolutely.
in essence, you get to be the mastermind, by putting all these wonderful individuals in place that are just doing such great things. So that's that. But
Mhm.
with weaknesses, I think sometimes, no matter where you are on I say the color sphere,
Mhm.
we have a hard time acknowledging our weaknesses. What's up with that?
Absolutely. Man. it's so disappointing to people don't realize that knowing your weaknesses is a strength.
Yes. Yes.
Like, if you know where your shortcomings are, you can either work to improve it,
Mhm,
or as we said before, find people who can do it
mhm,
so you don't have to.
mhm, mhm.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yes, yes, and it's funny to hear that line. I think in these times, we've lost meaning, or that
Mhm,
phrase has lost so much meaning, and we need to recreate that. Work smarter, not
mhm,
harder. Smarter does not mean taking on 85 projects at once and doing them all, in a mediocre way.
mhm,
I will also say for those of us who are high achievers, like yourself and myself,
mhm.
if there are many projects that we're dabbling in, that's also okay, but making sure that we are taking time to step away and breathe, right? I always believe in that balance. In behavioral health, we can be doing too much and nothing at all. And it's very, very important that we
Mhm.
find balance because I think for many of us who have been doing this for a long time, being stretched too thin can be a weakness.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%,
Yes.
100%, and people don't even realize that. It's like, "Oh, I'm starting 5 businesses. Why?
Mhm. Mhm.
Why?
Mhm.
Oh, I'm working this business, and then, I do all of this volunteer work, and I love that. That is
Mhm.
amazing.
Mhm.
But when do you find the time to recharge?
Right.
When do you find the time to ground yourself in your why
Mhm.
and figure out, like, are these things feeding me
Mhm.
or are they draining me?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then when you're able to identify that, that's when you start becoming more intentional on your time. I often say, money we can always make,
Mhm.
but time
Mhm.
is finite.
It
And
is.
once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so take the time to identify what aligns with your why, what aligns with your purpose, your reason, and then pour into that
Mhm.
because it's going to constantly fill your cup.
Yes. Yes. And, um, I think that you and I align on this, and I think we all have to find what works
Hmm.
for us. But so you've networked, you've found people, you've built these authentic relationships, you found a mentor, la 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 la. My favorite line is always remain teachable.
I love that.
Always
Yes,
remain teachable.
exactly.
So I'm going to keep bringing up AI because the algorithm will do something and hopefully get this out there, right? But
Yeah.
but with that, um, and feel free to go as deep into this as you want. Like I said,
Mhm.
we're not getting away from AI right now. We're not getting away
Mm,
from apps. We're not getting away from social media. We are connected in
no.
this way until we're not connected in this way.
Mhm.
But I think some of the reason doors are closing for some people is because companies are trying to move in a culturally projective direction, right? So they're moving in the direction of like, hey, healthcare, we're looking at incorporating AI with documentation
Mhm.
and services. Now we have a lot of compliance and regulatory concerns that we need to address, and I want to make that very clear. We still have to abide by
Mhm.
HIPAA and privacy
Mhm.
laws. So there's still a lot of things at work, but the doors shut for certain people who are like, I'm not gonna this is my dream job, but I'm also not gonna get on board with the fact that they wanna utilize this, or I don't wanna get with the times, or there are companies that are just not using some of the most up-to-date technology or trainings or what have you. What say you about things being just ever changing and people not wanting to get with the times, but are also complaining that doors are closed?
Mm. Can't have your cake and eat it too,
Oof.
as that old expression says, right? You know
Ah,
what I mean?
yeah.
It's the challenge that often a lot of millennials run into, right?
Ugh,
Where they're stuck at this they
yeah.
can't break through that glass ceiling because they have, and I'm going to call them out.
Call me
You got
out.
your older Gen Xers, you got your old boomers who are sitting in leadership positions who say, I'm not going to learn any of that.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to make you do it. So now everything falls on the millennial, who, in my opinion, is the greatest generation
Thank
because we
you.
are the bridge between the old and the new.
I don't care what anyone has to say. Um, we are the last generation with some of the best music. I said what I said. I
Yes. Oh,
can't. They're gonna.
absolutely.
I'm going to be canceled after this. But I'm just
Hey,
saying.
hey, look, from 90 to 2007,
Look,
music was at its peak.
and you know what? Our knees hurt. Our backs hurt. We
Hmm.
we did what we did, and we still doing
Hmm.
it. But I'm with you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So one of the things I want to ask you about has to do with, I don't know, maybe the dark side. As we've talked about we've sort of dabbled in a couple of things when it comes to the entrepreneurial space and just business in general. But
Mhm.
what are some of the stereotypes in, becoming a leader, becoming an entrepreneur, things that maybe we don't think about, things that people sell to us that may or may not work, and how we can know what works for us, and even if it is a stereotype.
That really shed light negatively. And the crazy part is that most of the stereotypes, at least for the Black community, are negative.
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
not really any positive stereotypes that exist for the Black community. For example, uh, the overly assertive, aggressive, loud Black woman.
Uh,
Um,
I've never heard this one.
right? Never in your
Yeah,
life, probably the
never.
first time you've ever experienced that. I'm sorry for having to bring this to you.
Yeah, don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah. um, and then there's also for Black men, it's being lazy. Uh,
Oh, yeah, that's hurt.
you
That
know,
hurts.
it does. It does. Being intimidating,
Mhm.
physically, our physical presence is intimidating.
Mhm.
Um, for for us Black men, Black women, I will speak to first. Me not being a Black woman or identify as a cisgender
Mm.
heterosexual male. Um, my observations is that there's ways that we can be assertive,
Mhm.
and there are ways that we can get our point across.
Mhm.
I often say that it's not about what you say, but it's about how
How
you say it.
how you say it, absolutely.
And that ties back to, it's not what you say, but how you made that person feel.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
If oftentimes Black women tend to have deeper voices
Mhm. Mhm.
than other women.
Mhm.
Their voice commands, has more power behind it in its speech. It's the timbre.
Mhm.
Um, it's the ancestor speaking through us, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so that can be intimidating to people.
Mhm.
So being mindful of your tone and how
Mhm.
you approach things is probably one of the most key factors I would recommend for any Black woman who's trying to elevate themselves in leadership. Be mindful of your tone.
Yeah.
It's not the words, it's how you say it.
Yeah, paraverbal communication, for those of you
Yes.
folks, paraverbal communication is, the speed, the rate, the tone. And, it's not to say that we should be in a space where we just are constantly trying to sound like other. We respect the
Hmm.
culture, but we do.
Hmm.
We do have to be mindful. We have to be
Hmm.
mindful of how we come across if we want people to hear us and receive what we're saying rather than judge how we're saying it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Now, for the Black men, the concept of being lazy,
Mhm.
um, that will carry with you until you reach a point in your career where it's irrefutable that you aren't.
Mhm.
Um, so you have to keep your head down in the sense of how you accomplish your work.
Mhm.
You grind, you become educated or you get the skills necessary for you to elevate in your space. And I'm not saying education is going to college. Education could be getting certifications. It
Mhm,
could be developing, blue collar skills.
mhm,
Like education is not a monolith. It's the growth and evolution of a person's intellect, their ability to process things, and their ability to emotionally handle challenges
mm,
and adversity.
mhm,
Um, so the laziness trope is going to follow you.
mhm,
And that's just fuel to your fire to strive for greatness.
mhm,
When it comes to being that intimidating space, I lean into it.
mhm, mhm.
I lean into being the person when I walk into the room, people heads are turning and looking at me because I'm just going to be honest, being a black male, we have a certain aura
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we carry,
Mhm,
and it's attention grabbing,
mhm.
especially if you're a person who's walking in confidence of
Yes,
who you are as an individual.
yes.
Can't nobody tell me about me but me,
Amen to that, same. Yep.
you know?
Mhm,
Um, and so that resonates and echoes for black women as well.
mhm.
Oh, be confident, not cocky.
Yes.
Be confident in who you are. Be confident in your skills and your capability. Be confident in knowing that I believe in my own mind that there's nobody who's going to outwork me.
Mhm, mhm,
And if you lean into that, that gives you that intrinsic motivation to continue to strive
mhm.
to be better and do better and to achieve whatever goals you're looking to set out for.
Yes, yes, yes. And, that's definitely something I'll say personally, I'm still working on because, sometimes I can be quick at the tongue, and I know that.
Mhm,
And, I want to acknowledge that historically our people have had to advocate and fight for, to be heard, to be seen, to be taken seriously. And we also have to transform and metamorphosize and get with the times, especially in business, right?
mhm.
We can't be running everybody off because we just
Yeah.
we want to present as strong all the time. And I think strength does not always look one way. And so that is something
Mhm.
that beautifully said. I want to end on this note because I swear we could talk about this forever. And I know
Yeah.
um, this is so important because there's so many people trying to start businesses out here. There's so many people trying to step into spaces and get into politics, get into HR, get into
Mhm.
consulting. And all I wanna do is just wrap my arms around people and just say, "Hey, like, you can do this, and you gotta be smart about it." But, um, for starters, for any new person, any newcomer, our youngsters out there, people starting over, just give us a few quick tips and tricks and sage words of wisdom from the great Dr. King that they can take with them, as they start or restart on their journeys.
You're exactly where you're supposed to be in that moment.
Woo.
So embrace that first
Mhm,
because life is about the journey.
mhm,
It's not about the accomplishments.
mhm, mhm,
If you're starting over and you're like, you know what, I'm pivoting. Look, I pivoted.
mhm.
I
Same.
was in the science field, say we were both in science.
Yeah.
And now we're science adjacent.
Yeah. I like that, I like that. Science, you know what? Hashtag science adjacent. All right, algorithm, do what you do.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Hashtag FIFA World Cup. Just
Oh,
throw that out there too. Um,
woo! Woo!
let's
Let's
go USA.
go USA.
um, acknowledge, identify what your strengths are,
Yes.
identify what your weaknesses are, then leverage your strengths to produce an outcome that you want to see, whether it be starting a business, whether it be supporting somebody else's business and coming in as a consultant.
Mm,
Either way, leverage those skills and that knowledge that you've acquired and don't stop learning.
mm,
Always be learning. The
mhm,
wise man knows he knows nothing.
mhm.
and I lean into that. I always am open to learning new things, um, learning new phrasing,
Yeah.
like radical acceptance.
Ah,
Um,
y'all got too many acronyms in HR. Imma just tell you right now, like, I can't,
yeah.
I try, I defer, but yes.
Yes, right? Yes. But see, and that's you acknowledging your
That
weakness,
is yep.
right? And then
I'll consult
leaning
with
on a
you.
person exactly who has that
Yeah.
knowledge to, augment your skills.
Yes. Yes.
Um, find the person who is willing to be, I like to say, a fanatic
Mm,
person who's in your life that is going to root for you, who's going to cheer for you, who's going to support you and be an advocate, a voice, a connector, whatever that is, whatever their skill set are for you in that space. Everybody needs a fanatic in their corner to keep them motivated, to keep them driven, to keep them supported, elevated, and also be an empathetic ear
yes.
because the journey is not easy. It's never meant to be easy. It's meant to be experienced and it's meant to be learned from. Embrace that. Realize and accept that no doesn't mean not right now. Well, it means not right now. It doesn't mean never. And if it does mean never, in those circumstances and instances, be ready to pivot.
Right. Right. And pivoting is not a bad thing, folks.
Never.
Sometimes pivoting could mean, and I'll say this from my behavioral health standpoint, pivoting could sometimes mean that you have outgrown the spaces that you were in and
Let's go.
and you are destined for something greater, you know,
Hmm.
move along with that tide. And also if you found yourself starting a project over here that didn't quite work out in that time and you did make a pivot, it's also okay to go back and revisit, some of those areas in different parts of your life. Um,
Hmm.
Dr. King, you are phenomenal. Thank you for your friendship, your words of wisdom, for sitting with me and our audience today. I just have so much gratitude for you, the work that you do. Um, and we got to do this again sometime. I am
Oh,
so
absolutely.
so very happy that you have been a guest on this podcast today. It truly helps us reach more people. And I have to say, if you're looking for the next thought provoking read, be sure to check out my novel, Bereavement, available now on Amazon. Ah! Oh my
Check out
goodness. Check
bereavement.
out Bereavement.
Check it
Oh
out.
my goodness. Yes. Yes.
And there
Thank
it is.
you.
There it is.
Yes.
And if
Yeah.
if you don't mind,
Please do.
there's an excerpt that I wanted to kind of touch on.
Please do.
The thought settled into place with frightening ease. Children often mistake restoration for inevitability.
Mm.
Adults should know better, but adults had not fixed this. So perhaps children would have to. Mara picked up the arithmetic packet, looked at the equations, looked at the get well card, then at the hallway closet where Daniel kept his papers. A connection began forming, not accurate, not logical, but deeply 10 years old, and therefore dangerous. At first, Mara tried to be brave. She lined up her stuffed animals and held school for them, read books she already knew by heart, built kingdoms from couch cushions where mothers were explorers, queens, spies, anything but gone, because the laid was survivable, gone was not. There was one photograph. Mara spoke to it sometimes, quietly, as though her mother might hear through glass. Hi, Mommy. Then reported on the ordinary disasters of childhood. That
Ooh.
excerpt resonated with me. And the adults had not fixed this.
No.
Mistake restoration for inevitability.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then she reported on the ordinary disasters of childhood. Life is a journey, and dealing with grief, dealing with challenges, dealing with the belief that we're not good enough is not something that a child believes.
Right.
A child, the world is endless,
And we
endless
teach them that.
possibility. Adults lose it when we become adults.
Woo! Mhm,
Be
mhm.
authentically you, lean into your emotional intelligence, and don't be afraid of no.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. I am
Thank
so
you.
very blessed that my book resonated with you. There's some bars in there. I got some bars.
Bars.
I got
Bars.
some so that's my mixtape. Bereavement is my mixtape.
Yes, there you go.
Bereavement is my mixtape. Uh,
Hove.
Hope. Well, you know what, folks? This has been an absolute blast. Dr. King, you are absolutely amazing. And for all of you, until next time, stay rooted in who you are, keep rising into who you're becoming, and I'll see you next time.